As they say, today's allies can be tomorrow's opponents. The code seems a right fit for YouTube content creators David Dobrik and Jeff Whittek. Once working together on YouTube videos, vlogs, and pulling pranks on random people, both YouTubers currently do not speak to each other and cannot even bear to be in the same room. To worsen the situation even further, Jeff Whittek has recently announced to take legal actions against David Dobrik after the infamous excavator accident that happened 2 years ago. So, what exactly happened between then friends that tore them apart, and what went wrong that forced Jeff to speak up against the incident now? Although he did not blame David in the beginning. Stay tuned to know, but before we explain the entire drama, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. David Dobrik is one of the most popular names in the YouTube fraternity with over 18 million YouTube subscribers. His YouTube videos mainly consist of vlogs where he and his teammates called the Vlog Squad pull pranks on each other and garner millions of views from around the globe. But the fame does not come off without a price. David has been the center of many controversies over the years, from being accused of creating a toxic work environment to always prioritizing his content over his teammates' safety. He always finds himself in a lot of trouble over his videos. David does not seem to care much and never publicly responded to any of the allegations, but this one time, things went a little too far. David and Jeff Whittek, along with their vlog squad, visited a lake in Utah in 2020, where David swung Jeff from an excavator, but he lost control of the machine, leading to a serious accident in which Jeff permanently damaged his left eye and is still going on with the treatment. Jeff documented his road to recovery in a video series titled "Don't Try This at Home" on his YouTube channel, explaining how intense the situation was for him and how it affected his life. Although he faced brutal injuries, Jeff did not hold David responsible for the incident. In fact, he publicly defended him and said it wasn't his fault. But things changed recently as Jeff expressed his displeasure over the lack of support from David after the accident. In February, Jeff refused to be part of the roast of Bryce Hall, blaming David and the Vlog Squad for censoring his content. In a tweet posted on February 23, he wrote that he did not want to be a part of anything David was involved in. His tweet read, "I'm no longer a part of the roast of Bryce Hall. My entire set will be cut due to censorship and David Dobrik being involved. I refuse to be a part of anything that scumbag is involved in from here on out." David, who had been tight-lipped about the entire incident, has discussed the entire feud in an episode of his podcast Views and said the prank was originally Jeff's own idea. According to him, Jeff sent him a DM with a video by 50 Cent of him hanging from an excavator, but David did mention that he only saw the message when Jeff was already in the hospital. On the episode of the podcast released on March 8, David and his teammate Jason Nash discussed the incident. David told him that Jeff insisted to keep it a secret and he initially agreed not to reveal anything. However, as everyone was blaming him, he felt the need to tell his side of the story. Referring to the prank, he said, "This is not what happened. It was a result of a group decision, and it was completely unintentional. And I'm so sorry that happened, but it did, and there's no turning back now." He also addressed Jeff's concerns, where he accused David of not paying the medical bills, but in reality, he never told them about it. According to David, his assistant Natalie tried to reach out to Jeff multiple times to discuss the payments, but he refused to respond. After telling his stance on the unfortunate incident, David also publicly apologized to Jeff at the end of the video and said he regrets being part of the prank and wishes it never happened. "That day is the worst thing to have ever happened to me. I would do effing anything to take that day back. It's the most unfortunate thing ever. It's an accident, like that's what it was," he said. Dobrik also mentioned that he was not responsible for censoring Jeff Whittek's jokes on the roast of Bryce Hall. This was the first time Dobrik said anything about the prank, that horrific accident that caused life-threatening injuries to Jeff. In response to the video, Jeff replied to the allegations on his podcast released the very next day. As David said in his video, he invited Jeff to appear on his podcast, saying he did not want to discuss it without his presence, but Jeff declined. Jeff has replied in his podcast titled Discussing What Really Happened, in which he accepted that Jason contacted him to appear on David's podcast Views, but he did not feel comfortable being in the same room with David. As for the medical bills, Jeff said Natalie was aware of the dates of his surgeries, as everything was documented in an email sequence, but instead of dealing with it directly, she forwarded it to the insurance company rather than ensuring on-time payments of the dues. He continued to break down David's entire podcast and reacted to almost everything he said. As David claimed that swinging from the crane was Jeff's idea, Jeff accepted it, but said he did not expect the machine to go as far as it did. In the video response from Jeff, he accused David and co-host Jason of not telling the truth. He said, "I'm not gonna beat you up anymore. I'm just gonna take this the right way, the smart way, and just let the courts decide, you know? You're making a lot of statements here that are very untrue, that are so easy to disprove." He continued, "Let's just let the courts decide, and you'll have to sign a paper that says, yeah, this was a lie, and I'm guilty of this and that, and we can go that route about it. Because let's be honest, I get no points for beating you up. It just sucks how badly you fumbled this." Whittek has been attacking him on social media a lot. In one of his live streams, he said he was done being fake friends with Dobrik. He told the audience that he did not receive any messages or calls from Dobrik since his most recent corrective eye surgery. After the live stream, Jeff released another episode of his podcast titled Dear David, in which he said that he was protecting David for a long time and there was much more to the story than David not texting him, even when he had a drastic eye surgery in which he could have been blind for the rest of his life. In another tweet from Jeff, posted on March 10, he shared one of David's videos from right after the accident and commented, "This is disturbing. David's own video proves 2 hours after the accident, while I was being operated on, and he was the only one allowed in the hospital. He was screen recording stuff to frame me, while others stayed outside and prayed. He was wiping his fingerprints off the gun." In response, many people called David for being selfish and only thinking about his impression. For instance, one user wrote, "Of course he did. You already know the millionaire influencer's first thought was, 'Oh God, I'm gonna go down for this, so shameful.'" While another perfectly summed up the situation in a tweet that read, "I mean, it can be the worst day of both of their lives. They both experienced something traumatic and they're both handling it terribly." After witnessing the feud, fans have been calling out the YouTubers for doing anything that can get them a lot of views, no matter how irresponsible the content is. As for this specific incident, people have different opinions about who was responsible, but one thing is for sure. The prank led to a horrific incident that nobody is ready to take the blame for. Most of the fans are in favor that Jeff should file the lawsuit against David, as he has almost lost his life in the terrible accident, while others think he was equally responsible for coming up with the idea. David hasn't said anything in response to Jeff's intentions of filing a case against him, but what do you guys think Jeff should do in the current scenario? Share your views in the comment section and keep watching for more videos.